Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Viewhouse Centennial. And it's a great night for the Nissan Football Blitz because back by popular demand, we got Mike McGlinchey back in the house. Wanted to have you back on all year. We're so excited, Mike. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
You know, another tumultuous week. We seem to get you after crazy times, but it has been a wild week in Broncos country. Can you just take us through a little bit the mood in the locker room with everything that's gone on, obviously with the changes at quarterback with Russell Wilson?
Well, I think the mood in the locker room's fine. Obviously, this is something that is a huge story and something that a lot of people on the outside world want to give a lot of attention to. But at the same time, we have a job to do, and we have to focus on how to win this week against LA and try and finish this season strong. Obviously, crazy situation. Things haven't exactly gone to par these last couple weeks from where we were sitting in the month of November, and things happen. And we just got to keep moving forward, and it's our job as players to continue to do our job to the best of our ability and execute on Sunday.
I think no matter who you are, getting told that you got to sit, that's a tough gig. How have you seen Russ handle this?
I will say, no matter what, he might be the toughest dude I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is obviously not something that anybody wants to take lightly, especially as somebody of his prowess and of his accomplishments and prowess in this league, and the career that he's had. Obviously, this isn't something that he takes kindly or lightly, but he's shown up and with a smile on his face, putting his best foot forward and competing at practice and being a great teammate in the locker room. And I think that says more to who he is than what he's ever done on a football field. And I think it's truly is one of the most impressive things of how to be a professional, of how to be a great teammate, and those things Russell has, in plentiness. And I think that it's a great lesson for every guy out there, not only in our league, but I hope my younger brother who plays quarterback that's 16 years old watches how he handles himself, because adversity happens to everybody and it comes to us in very different forms. But the way he's handled this week is nothing but classy and nothing but being a pro.
Yeah, absolute class act. He's been that the whole way, and we know he always will be. Let's shift over to Jarrett Stidham. Obviously, he hasn't thrown a pass this year. What can fans expect from him? What kind of a player is he?
Well, I think Jarrett's a stud. I was on the other side of him taking over another team last year, and I was a part of a team that had the number one defense in the NFL at the time, and he kind of ran through us like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And so excited to see what he can do, excited for the opportunity that he has. Obviously, Jarrett and I have become very close friends, and so excited for the opportunity that he's getting, and I think he's going to do great things. And, it's our job as an offense to make everybody's job easier, especially up front on the offensive line, and we're going to go try and do that on Sunday.
For you, I mean, Russ and Jarrett obviously look like two very different quarterbacks. For you guys, this feels like the biggest change. What is the biggest change as a lineman when you get a new quarterback?
Nothing changes in terms of how we do our job.
Yeah.
The only thing that changes is the voice that you're hearing when your back's turned.
Yeah.
And so his cadence is a little different. The way he calls the plays in the huddle are a little different. So you just pick up on those little keys and details of the guy that's playing and where he likes to set up his spot and drop back protection, where he's going to set up his spot and play action. Things of those, things that we work through at practice that's been pretty easy and smooth sailing. So it's just those small things, but it doesn't matter who's back there for me. I gotta block the guy I'm assigned to block, and same with the rest of my other guys.
Speaking of that, there's a Chargers you got to block. We're going to talk about that on the other side. We got a lot more coming up. So thrilled tonight to have Mike McGlinchey in the house. We'll break down this upcoming matchup with the Chargers, second round this season of this battle. Stick around. We'll be right back on the Football Blitz. Welcome back into the Nissan Football Blitz here at the Viewhouse Centennial, and so thrilled. Got Mike McGlinchey back in the house before the season ends. And we were talking on the other side about the things you got to get used to, the cadence, all of these things with a new quarterback. I'm curious, what's the advantage of the first game being at home and not in front of a ruckus away crowd?
Well, certainly it's huge, and something that we've worked through all week is Jarrett's voice and the way that he calls it and all those things. But but I don't anticipate it to be an issue. Jarrett's played a lot of football in his career. Certainly did a lot in college and has had a handful of opportunities in the NFL, and he's done great at every step. So we're excited for him. We're excited to be able to put on a show on Sunday and try and improve. And that's all we can continue to do because at the end of the day, we're still pros. We still got to go play football no matter what has been thrown at us the last few weeks. And if it's not now, then you're building for the next season.
Always looking to the next, and the next, of course, is the Chargers coming up on Sunday, last home game of the season. That brings us to the Keys to Sunday. Keys to Sunday brought to you by Shields. Key number 1, get off to a fast start. This feels like important with a new quarterback, in any game, but is it more so when you got a new quarterback, get off to that fast start?
I think it's just a key to any football game. You certainly want to start fast and start having success early, right? You want to be able to be the ones who dictate the flow of a football game. You want to be able to keep the opponent on their heels, and it's all about how you attack the first couple drives. We've been good there, and we've done well opening up, and we got to sustain, throughout the whole game. Our defense has been lights out all year after the turnaround, and so we got to just make sure we do our part to continue our success on offense.
You talk about controlling the game. That brings us right to key number 2, run the rock, which you guys have had great success with. I don't want to say struggles, but a little more struggles, I guess, the past couple weeks. What's been the difference? How do you get back to going over 100 yards?
Well, certainly, schematically, defenses aren't going to let you do exactly what we've been doing over our win streak. Eventually, that's going to stop. You're not going to be able to run the ball 35 times every week and do it, the way that we've done it. So, schematically, things are getting taken away. Extra guys in the box, what have you, whatever the issue was. Our job is to sustain blocks and get on people and move them out of the way, and that's what we're going to try and do. That's kind of been our calling card, and we got to get back to it. And I think it'll help us being able to do that early.
Sure. Well, Mike, this has been one of the craziest seasons. You go to the start, you go to the win streak, and now you thought after that Patriots game it's over. It's certainly not over. There is several paths to the playoffs. There's a path to the division title at this point. How are you guys approaching what has been a lot of ups and downs, but you're certainly still in this?
Yeah, you got to ignore the noise on that stuff a little bit. I think where people get in trouble is by projecting and trying to predict the future and trying to say, if this happens, whatever. The only thing we can do is control what we can control. Nothing else matters unless we get things done against LA and then against Vegas after that. So we just got to go one step at a time, one play at a time, and do our job to the best of our ability. There's no point in projecting to the future. Obviously, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen, not only on our team but everywhere around the league this year. So we just got to put our heads down and go to work and go get a win.
One message certainly this week has been finishing on a positive note, regardless of postseason or not. I'm curious because I've heard different answers from different players. Does finishing with a winning record, does that matter to you?
I think it does. It matters to me. I'm going to be here. I hope, as long as they don't do anything to me. I want this team to be great, and I want it to be great. No matter I've always operated under. If it's not now, then we're building for something in the future. If it's not tomorrow, if it's the next day. You just always are trying to get better. And if you can end this season the way that we know we're capable of doing, playing these football games, I think that transitions to a lot of success moving forward. Yeah. And for those of us that have played this game for a long time, momentum is a huge thing, and confidence is even bigger. And if you can do those things and play well these next 2 games and show what we're capable of and do the things that we know we've been able to do that we've struggled to do consistently over these next 2 weeks, I think it builds a lot of momentum in going into the offseason. But like you said, we're not out of this. So focus is on this week and getting the win and seeing where the chips fall.
It's exciting, and it's exciting, of course, because it's an AFC West opponent that always makes up for great games. And make sure you join us tomorrow for Ford Countdown to Kickoff. We'll be breaking down everything you need to know about the Broncos-Chargers matchups. Jeff Legwald will join us with his insight. And, of course, we'll have your best bets of the day for other games. That's Sunday, 9:30, Ford Countdown to Kickoff. We got to take a break here. Up next, we're going to play Crash for Cash. How are your Jenga skills?
Probably subpar.
Okay. Well, we're about to find out. I think the height might be an advantage. Stick around. We'll find out on the Football Blitz.